Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is going to be a book tag where I am actually going to be talking about my favorite authors, and if I could just select one book from them, like one book that they've written, I'm going to be talking about that. And I was tagged to do this by Books and Key from Books and Key. Thank you, Key, for tagging me. And also I'm going to do this a bit different. Like, I felt like I wanted to add something of my own here. So my problem is that I have a plethora of like favorite authors in general, so for me it was very difficult to select. So what I tried to do was diversify the genres and then select like this is my favorite author in this genre and stuff like that. So I think that helped me narrow down the authors a bit. Otherwise I was just like super confused on what books to show you and what books to recommend. So without further ado, let's get started on this one. The first genre that I have here is historical fiction, and for that I have Roots by Alex Haley. Alex Haley is one of my favorite authors of all time, and this is his most critically acclaimed book. It's called Roots, and it is actually a non-fictional story written in a fictional format. It talks about how Alex Haley's forefather called Kunta was kidnapped from Africa and brought to the US in order to be a slave. And Kunta didn't know English, he didn't know anything at all, and he was just put to work on the farms, and that's how that whole thing transpired in general. So yeah, that being said, this book also talks about how, so Alex Haley also talks about how he himself wanted to go and see the village, or how he wanted to narrow down the whole village where his forefather came from, like where he belonged, like where his actual roots were, therefore Roots. And he goes to Africa, he goes to that place, and he also puts himself in a slave ship, or I would say a ship, and dresses himself as a slave out there and goes through, or tries to go through, all the torture and the horrendous nature that Kunta had faced. So it's a very interesting read. It's a very good read on Africa and slavery, and it also talks about African culture in general. So yeah, highly recommended. It's a great piece of historical fiction, I would say, because it's written in a fictional format. So my next genre over here is classics, and I don't read much classics anyway, and that's why my recommendation here is J.D. Salinger, Catcher in the Rye. I love J.D. Salinger, in all honesty. I mean, this book had a very, I read this book at a very impressionable age. That's why this book has a huge impact on me. Like, the reader that I am today, the reason I love contemporary in general is somewhat because of this book. I won't say this book is a contemporary, it's actually a modern classic per se, but this book talks about a rebellious teenager, and I don't know, this book really made a huge impression on me when I was a teenager, and that's why I recommend it. I'm not sure as an adult, if you read it, like how well would you resonate with it. Like, I need to reread it as well as an adult to understand, would this be affecting me like it affected me when I was in 11th grade. But yeah, highly recommend this classic. It's like a very controversial book, and it's a banned book as well. So that's that. Now let's move on to the contemporary fiction genre, and for this one, my favorite author in contemporary is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I really love her, and if I had to select just like one book from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, that would be Dear Ijawele, or A Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. I love this book. Like, I really love this book a lot. If I have to give someone a book, someone who does not read books at all in general as well, I would just pick this up and give it to them. Dude, learn about feminism, learn about how to raise feminist daughters. It's an amazing book, and if you've never read Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, again, this is a very good book to start. So go ahead, read it. It's a great book. Now let's move on. So let's move on to, I think, crime thriller. So that's like another genre that I tend to read a lot, and honestly, I have read a lot of crime thriller back in the days. Like, of recent is when I've started, moving more into literary fiction or contemporary fiction for general. But I think one book that has always stayed with me all through this time. Like again, I read this at a very impressionable age, and that is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I think I have this copy since I think first year or second year of engineering. It is an amazing book. It is the best Agatha Christie out there, first of all, and I think this is one of those few books that form a good competitor in the crime thriller genre, and it's a classic as well. Very few crime thriller books have actually come close to this one. Not even Agatha Christie's like own series, the Hercule Poirot series, has affected me so much, but this one did. I loved this a lot. I really liked it a lot. And if you've not read this yet, this is like a must read if you really like crime thriller in general. So yeah, that's that. And moving to the last book, because the count said I needed 5 books. I would have had 6, but then you know what? Let's do 5 for now. And you know what? Let's do 6, because I just remembered one book that I wanted to add, but I was refraining from adding it. But yeah, let's do non-fiction now. And for non-fiction, I have to suggest Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. I've spoken about this on my channel before, and this is your corporate Bible. This, if you are a woman working in corporate in general, if you're a working woman who's trying to balance life, everything around you, this is the book for you. And honestly, I've read this like a textbook. This is one of the, I won't say even one of the, this is the best business life non-fiction I've ever read in my life. And if I had to like take a book with me on a standard island, like other than these books, I would for sure take this book. Although I would not be like a corporate woman working on a standard island, this book inspires me to be something better than I am currently. So that's why I love this book, and it's highly recommended. Now let's have a bonus recommendation, because I just remembered that I did not cover literary fiction for that matter, because I thought that within literary fiction I myself have to explore a lot. But till now, my favorite literary fiction, I would say, author would be Jhumpa Lahiri, and I really loved the interpreter of Maladies. The reason I'm including this is because first thing, it's a short story book, and I'm not included any short stories in this particular video. And the second thing being, I basically loved this book a lot. It's a very beautiful book. It's a good book in general, and it has a lovely bunch of stories. So yeah, that's that. So yes, that's that for my tag. And I'm sorry Ki, I kind of diverted from the original tag, but then I wanted to do that because I wanted to add my own I would say, I don't know, I mean, yeah, you get the gist. So yes, that's it today from my side, and I will see you on my weekly reads. Bye.